Hello, everyone. Hola, mundo. Welcome, world, and welcome to Voces Poderosas 2023. I'm Jackie Bouvier, and I'm shining the light on our nation's most powerful, influential voices, and I'm creating a movement. This is a movement that is inspiring, empowering our Latinidad through powerful, influential voices. Voces Poderosas. It is a transformative mini-series, and we're featuring trailblazers, spirit heads, catalysts, pioneers, all the professionals that have insightful wisdom that will inform, empower, and help catapult you and me to the next level. I'm so excited today. I am a little giddy here because we have the amazing Daniel Garza from Libre, the president, Daniel Garza, who was born in Central Valley, California, but who is shaking the nation, who has been shaking the nation with everything that he is doing. He definitely has, like we say, una huella, right? He's putting his mark everywhere he goes. I got to meet him a few years ago when I was working in the community, and it's just been amazing. So I just want to be able to give him the time to tell about his story, tell us who he is, and let us know why he's a powerful voice in our nation. So why don't you tell us who you are? What is your story? What does Hispanic Heritage Month mean to you and your culture? Because as you know, we all have different generational cultures, countries. Like I'm Salvadoreña, I like my pupusas. And so I know that we're all Hispanics, our cultures are not the same. So please, Daniel, welcome to Voces Poderosas. Tell us about you.
Well, thank you, Jackie. First of all, I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and your audience. I'm honored that you would ask. Look, I think I have a very common story in the sense that my parents, who married in Mexico, saw America as the promised land where they could achieve what they couldn't achieve in their country of origin, unfortunately. And so they came as farm workers, to the Central Valley of California. They had a fourth grade education. They worked hard. They worked hard, believing that they could improve not only their lot in life, but obviously the conditions for their children to succeed. And they saw better opportunities in the Yakima Valley of the state of Washington. So after I was born, when I was about 4 years old, they moved to the state of Washington, and that's basically where I was raised. We still migrated, following the crop seasons as farm workers, to Nebraska and California and the state of Washington. But mostly being raised in the state of Washington, and it was really tough times, growing up a farm worker. It doesn't pay much. You work out in the elements, and you work as a child even. In fact, my situation was pretty tough. I couldn't accommodate to a public school system, and so it spit me out after the 10th grade. I'm a high school dropout because of missing so many days of school and having to return to Mexico 3 or 4 months out of the year. And so my second chance, Jackie, was getting a GED. It was really got me back on track. Went off to college, worked at the police department as a police officer. And it was really there where, my eyes were kind of opened up a little bit, to look beyond myself and my family. I saw the domestic violence, the gang violence, the narco traffic, just sort of a sense of hopelessness in a lot of my community that I hadn't noticed before. And so I wanted to get involved, and I ran for city council. Shockingly, I won. And it got me on this strange path to where it led all the way to, working for the president of the United States at the White House. And so, just to sort of wrap it up, it was at 17, I'm a high school dropout. 17 years later, I'm working for the president of the United States at the White House. It's just incredible, right? The destiny, right? What this country also affords you if you start making the right decisions and start taking control of your life.
Wow, that's powerful. I was just keep going. That's so inspiring. It's, we've been using this word a lot. It's the energy that we bring as Latinos, but also that disruptor spirit, right? Mobility disruptors that we are. And it sounds like you had the opportunity to be who you are by disrupting the system, right? Not being what we all think it should be, right? It's more following that path into your destiny and who you're supposed to be, which is amazing because you bring it with passion, right? Even with the Libre initiative, which is what you're doing now, correct?
Well, that's exactly right. Look, I don't recommend anybody drop out of high school to get to the White House. That's not what I'm trying to say here.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. You're positioned a lot better as a high school graduate. Trust me. But the point is, obviously, that no matter what the circumstances are, this is a country of second chances, and you can overcome barriers, right? And what we fight for is, those things that I saw in my parents. They didn't know English, they didn't have a driver's license, they didn't have a high school diploma, and so they didn't have an equal opportunity in America because of that. They were already behind. And what we work to do is to work with the communities to remove those barriers, to help people get a GED, to learn English, to know how to start up a business, to get a driver's license. All these things that a lot of Americans take for granted. If we could actually remove those things as a barrier, we could accelerate the process of people, improving their lot in life. And then, of course, how can we change or be a part of changing policy for the better? The democracy, Jackie, requires we hold honest conversations about the policies that are effectively, creating economic growth or offering our children a quality education or improving, healthcare for our communities. And by that, I mean a conversation with the people most affected, right, by public policy. And I think far too many politicians, seek to impose an agenda in our community as opposed to, asking us about our concerns. What are our barriers? What are our opportunity or priorities, right? To making sure that we position our children better for success. So anyways, at Libre, we aim to change that, right? We want to engage Latinos. We want to mobilize them in support of policies that are generating prosperity, and then oppose policies that are generating dependency and centralizing so much power and money and control in the hands of politicians in Washington, D.C. We say enough. Es tiempo que la comunidad se levante, ¿verdad? Y levante su voz. Look, I honestly, through my observation, I've learned one thing. If you can communicate or express an idea, either written or verbal, you're gold, right? And I don't know if we train or teach or educate our children at how to communicate better, right? And how to be better communicators, whether that's storytellers, whether it's sharing data, whether that's, of course, being good observers and then detailing what that observation is, for the betterment of others. But, honestly, I wish I paid more attention in my English classes. To be honest,
I say the same thing.
Right? It turns out you need it. And so, we're always looking for folks, who can communicate ideas and do it effectively, who can connect with people, who can persuade people, through the power of an idea. But by the use of language, whether it's in Spanish or English, the thing is about communicating ideas. That's a big deal. Also, creating value, like finding that comparative advantage that you have, that unique skill that you can bring to the table, and that you do well. And then if you could actually make a career out of it, I think that's the best way to thrive in America. But then, of course, how do I leverage that to create value for others? So there's mutual benefit between what you're doing and then you're being rewarded for your actions or for your services or products. I think that's the spirit of entrepreneurship in America, but it's also, a principle that works in policy, in the arts, in sports, and whatever, right? How do I create value for others? Because you'll be rewarded for that.
Wow, that's really nice. That's really good. I think that's kind of, that has been the message across all the leaders right now. I feel like it, and it's been very powerful for me to listen and hear this, that, having that little key that opens doors for so many people, right? That
Yeah.
there is so much room for everyone. And there's so much opportunity because we're not the same. We're all different. But at the same time, together we can thrive by giving others, like someone else said, a push and pull, right? Get that opportunity in the door. So I think that's powerful. And I love how you mentioned the competitive advantage, because I think even our culture, right? Even who we are and what we bring and how we align is very powerful. So I appreciate that very much. And I think it's very powerful for others to hear that. coupled with being a professional, coupled with looking up to people with powerful voices such as yourself, because you have a powerful voice. You're an influential leader here in this nation. And so not only am I honored to have you here, but I want you to just give us any last words of advice that you feel that you can share, and that,
Yeah.
all of us that are here like Daniel Garza.
It's interesting that you talk about, a powerful voice, but, I, back when I was, invited by the Bush administration to as an appointee at the Department of the Interior, being asked to leave my state of Washington and go to Washington, D.C. and sit down at the policy table, right, with like Ivy Leaguers from Harvard and Yale and Princeton. This is a high school dropout kid from the sticks. As I honestly, Jackie, I had two reactions. One was like excitement, like, wow, I'm going to form part of a presidential administration. Who gets to do that, right? Well, what an honor. Second was just fear. It's like, because, I didn't know if I could, operate at that level, right? With these folks who were much more knowledgeable and sophisticated than I was when it came to policy or politics even. But you have to overcome that, right? I think success is at the other side of overcoming your fears, and it's one of these things where you find out quickly that wisdom doesn't reside exclusively, right, in those 5 square miles of limestone and marble buildings. Wisdom comes from your community, from your family, from your culture, and I believe from the hand of God Almighty, right? And so you bring everything you are to the table. And it was what I thought was my weakness, that I was some, simple-minded kid, was actually a strength of mine. Who could speak about when I worked at the White House about the high school dropout rates, what it means to be poor, what it means, to be a migrant farm worker, what it means, to have the challenges in your education, and you just, grit it out, in society. It was just my experiences that I brought that nobody else brought. And so it was my comparative advantage, it turned out. It's like, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, I really had to overcome my fears, to be that powerful voice you're talking about. It was like, it was a reticent, fearful voice to begin with. And I know what it feels like, to be the only one of your kind, right, in any group. But again, I think you're strengthened by just the set of your skills and your experiences and the support that you have from family and community. It goes a long way, and you have the freedom to do that, right? I think our founding fathers understood when they said, we are endowed by a creator with certain inalienable rights, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That pursuit of happiness part is so important, Jackie. I don't know if we emphasize it enough. They were basically saying, we don't know what does it for you. You have to figure it out. Your pursuit of your happiness, right, is the freedom that you have. And so strike out in the world and find out what makes you happy, to have that fulfillment. And it turns out, that being an advocate for my community, my Latino community, is what makes me happy and what makes me proud to be a part of that and that cause. And so I can now say, like, having overcome my fears, I now have the confidence to move forward and say, el que tiene pueblo tiene poder.
Wow. Y tienes voz poderosa.
Thank you, Jackie. Appreciate that.
Wow, that's amazing. I love it. I love your story. This is exactly why I'm doing this. Stories like yours, they inspire everyone. They inspire me. They inspire people around me. And I know that anyone out there that will listen to you and hear you will be inspired by your story because, like you said, you don't have to drop out of high school, but you have a story to tell. You have a competitive advantage that is yours. And I think it's very important for us to see every single way that a Latino looks and feels, and the cultural aspect and how we came to be who we are, right? How you became the voice you are for this nation. And so I appreciate your time. I feel blessed that you were able to share your story with me. I feel like you were just talking to me, even though the whole world's going to hear this.
I'm talking right at you. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, Jackie. And thank you for taking the time to do this and the effort, that it takes to put this together.
Thank you.
Tip of the hat to you.
Ah, gracias. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And, remember, I always say powerful, your voice is powerful. And thank you for sharing your story again, which was genuinely kind. And you are making a difference. Please note that. And anything else you'd like to say before we say goodbye?
Bendiciones a todos. Un fuerte abrazo.
Gracias. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.